Hello, everybody. Those of you who are listening and watching. Today we have Earl Endrich with us. So my job, as far as it goes today, is going to be to try to pull as much information as I can out of Earl. I can attest to, joining Berkshire Hathaway. We worked together for how many years? 4 or 5 years now?
Yeah, 4 or 5.
But then,
yeah.
So I saw firsthand that you come into the business knowing nothing. I asked Earl 100 questions a day for years. And
Understatement, yeah.
But and we're still masterminding every week or every other week, and both of us have really grown some good businesses. So I'm going to try to ask questions if I know nothing. My goal with this show is always to be able to help a team kind of give their agent some info, or if we can help that new agent, you and I were both in that situation once, if we can help them shortcut that learning curve, let's do it. So.
Yeah, no, thanks, Brian. I'm happy to be here, man. And just like you, I'm here to get as much information out of you as possible. No, I mean, this is just it's fun. And I think, when you start, masterminding with top agents, whether it's here or around the country, it makes such a big difference.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I know we do that mastermind, every other Tuesday? And every time I meet with another agent, regardless of how much experience they have, I learn at least one thing from it. Yeah. So
it's 1% better, man. If you can get 1% better every day, that all adds up. So
100%. So I'm going to try to walk everybody through, your career. So when you first started the business, or when you first started in the business, I know it was a very easy market. You just came in, your mom gave you a bunch of deals, and
that's about right.
Made a bunch of money.
And then that's it. That's all
here we are.
But yeah, no, I got in the market in 2007. I was 24 years old. I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I was working construction. I was working at a vitamin shop. Just kind of, I was in school still, so I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. So I know my mother was in the business. She's been doing it for 30 plus years. So she was always trying to get me into real estate.
Yeah.
And I was kind of, we grew up with someone in real estate. You look at it and you're like, I don't know if I want to do that. They're always, stopping at houses, or let's stop at the office real quick.
Yeah.
You feel like they're always working, which is somewhat the case. But I got in and I did have that mindset. I'll be honest. I just figured, my mother's in the business. It's going to be great. She can hand off a lot of her transactions to me, and everything's going to be awesome. And that is far from what actually happened, but that was definitely the mindset, which I think a lot of people, they get into real estate and they have that mindset of this is going to be easy,
right?
Show a couple of houses, get a couple of contracts signed, and there you go, you get paid. But
right,
it's a rude awakening once you get involved. But
so 2007, that was probably one of the worst times to get into real estate, right?
I didn't know that, but yeah, I guess, people could say that. I look at it a different way. I look at it as I was fortunate to get involved then, because everyone knows right after that, the whole economy, tanked. We're in the Great Recession. I didn't know what I didn't know. So I kind of learned the right way to do things.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my mother, like I said, was involved, and I was working with her, and she came to me and said, look, I can't give you anything. I have to save myself,
right?
But basically, she said that anything that I do that she'll help me with, which I thought that was the most valuable part of the whole thing, and that's how we even built our team a little bit. We have people that have experience helping you with the transaction, because you can go sell a house or get a listing, and then really not knowing what to do from there can cost you a lot of money. Unfortunately, we're in that business that mistakes they happen in the field.
Right.
You don't really have a lot of people that guide you through it. So I look at it as I was fortunate to kind of come in during that time.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. So it kind of only got better, right? After, it was very hard for you. So you're learning, you got to work 5 times as hard to sell a house.
Exactly. Well, and in the beginning, it's working 5 times as hard just to get, to get clients.
Yeah.
I did what a lot of people do. I went to foreclosure, or actually I would not foreclosure. I would go to for sale by owners. I would just drive around in Hockessin, Pike Creek, Landenberg.
Because they weren't listed on Zillow then, right?
They weren't listed on Zillow. I don't even think Zillow was a big thing then. I may have been new, but they weren't listed on Zillow. They would sometimes be in the paper. I called a lot of expireds. I did okay with all that. And I was fortunate that our company was doing a 100 Days to Greatness. With the Buffini program.
Yep.
And I got involved with that and kind of went all in on some of that. And that's basically relationship marketing.
100%. Yeah, I know that's still like your biggest source of business, right? Is the Buffini program? Yeah.
But it basically working with either past clients, Sphere, and more importantly, their recommendations and referrals.
Okay.
So I think about 87% of our business is either a past client or a referral from somebody. Yeah.
So you come in the business, right? And your mom's like, basically, I'm not helping you, right? So you've kind of already.
Yeah. She said she couldn't help me get business.
Right.
Because she had to kind of man her own ship.
Yeah. Right. And that's almost a step backwards, right? Because she's already got a relationship with everyone in your family. So now you have to, because my family members that join the business say the same thing. They're like, you already know everybody, so you got to bust through that hurdle. And then the Buffini program, is that what you would say set you up the best?
I think so. I think it's a great foundation. I remember the first time taking that program, it feels kind of weird. You're reaching out to your friends and you're really just letting them know what you do. I mean, you don't want to be a secret agent.
Right.
And because you haven't done that ever really when you get in, it feels a little awkward letting people know. I would kind of gamify it a little bit. I just reach out to people, let them know I got my license and I want to work by referral. So if they know somebody that's looking to buy or sell, just to keep me in mind. Yeah. And it takes a little bit of time. It's like anything else. I know you probably deal with it yourself and with agents, in your office. You just got to practice and get the reps in. I mean, I would sit there and call 10 people, and I had a little easy button. I think I featured that in one of my videos, but
yeah,
I would call somebody, push. That was easy.
Awesome.
Just kind of gamify it a little bit.
So, yeah, I mean, everybody. So how do you determine how you call? So you have a database, right? Everybody's in your CRM.
Yeah.
And now you break everybody out between A and D.
Yeah. So I have everyone set up. I have A pluses. So, and this evolves over the years. Like when you're new, it might be your A pluses are people that, are your advocates that want to refer you.
Okay.
I have it now. If you're an A plus, you refer me. More than one person a year. And I have some people in my A plus list that refer me 5, 6, 7 people every year.
Awesome.
So that's a small group. I think I have 12 people in my A plus, maybe a little bit more. Then my AEs are people that have referred me in the past 2 years, either worked with us or referred us in the past 2 years. So then we have our Bs, and our Bs are somewhat transitional, but they might be some family members, that we would like to refer us. They have maybe worked with us in the past. Some people, it just, it doesn't come natural, but we still stay in touch with them. And, we still, reach out and invite them to stuff too. And then C's are kind of the also transitionary. They're like new clients.
Okay.
Yep.
So it would be perfectly normal for a new agent to not have any A's, right? Or maybe like 2 or 3, right?
Potentially, yeah.
Okay.
And you could classify it as, if you're brand new, go through and treat everyone as an A.
Yeah.
For that year.
Okay.
And you'll start weeding out to see who is your A's, B's, and C's.
Okay.
Because if someone's going to be out there as a walking, talking billboard, you want to treat them, a little different than someone that doesn't think of you at all.
Right.
And you want to be in front of the people a little bit more, whether, you are reaching out just to see how you can help, inviting them to some events, dropping by with little gifts, things like that.
Yeah.
Really stay top of mind with those people. And they'll kind of come full circle when you start reaching out to them on a monthly basis,
Right.
things like that. And then you can start adjusting from there.
So a lot of, I mean, it's very small amount of money, right? And I guess for me, I always thought about it as the goal is, see, I made like everyone a C, and then I kind of tried to, I'm calling through my C's trying to make them a B or an A.
Yeah.
So I guess there's two different ways of looking at it, or call them all like they are an A, send them your Popeyes and stuff like that. And then what would make them a C if they...
So I guess a C would be, maybe somebody that, you've reached out to them. And this is, I'm trying to think as far as we're as experienced agent, then maybe we can talk about new agents.
Right.
You're reaching out to them, you're calling, you're doing Popeyes, you're, sending them invites to a lot of your events, sending them a mailing, and maybe you haven't heard from them in a few years.
Right. They're just
So
silent.
doesn't mean they don't want to use you. You know what I mean? They just, they're just not as active. I mean, some people, they don't really care. They just say, hey, they did a great job. Thanks for staying in touch. We'll call you when we need you.
Yeah.
Maybe you have a new client that just comes in and you're just starting to work with them. You don't know which way they're going to go. I might keep them as a C until we go to closing.
I got you.
And then I might move them up and then treat them, exactly how we treat all of our A's for the first, 6 months to a year, and kind of see how that works out. As a new agent, you could probably, everyone can come in as a C, and treat them exactly how, as, just kind of reaching out to them and go from there.
Yeah. 100%. I think the Buffini program is great. I mean, especially if you're new and you've got no business, it doesn't hurt. And so a lot of people I noticed said, I don't want to do that, but how much of a time commitment is it really for you? I mean,
To call 5 people that you know in a day?
Right. So you could do the whole Buffini program, which Earl's sitting here telling you he's built his entire business on. Under an hour?
And I'm not, I don't work for Buffini and Company at all.
I know you don't.
Not yet. But no. But, I just think it's a foundational way of doing business. And also it actually, you let your clients know that too. Say, hey, by the end of this transaction, my hope is that you've already referred me 3 people.
Yeah.
And put a number to it. I have clients that, during the transaction, like, all right, I already referred you 1. We're going to get you another 2 by the end of this. And it's an integrous way to do business. Hey, you're not just going to, rent us. We're going to come with the house, man. Like,
right.
You need something with the house afterwards, we're there. So they have your business in their hands.
Awesome.
And you're just reaching out and just checking in. I remember you mentioned it in your first podcast when you said, and I remember I told you, I said, just call everyone in your database. You're like, okay. It's like 2 days later. All right, I called everybody.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's
not
easy.
that difficult. Yeah. It's just we tell these stories to ourselves in our head, like, oh, they're gonna think I'm being too salesy. Oh, they don't want to hear from me. I don't want to bother them. It's if you're leading with service, and that's your number one priority, then really, I don't think that you're bothering anybody.
Right.
How can we help you? Is there
100%.
What can we do to help? I mean, you look at it as a service call, especially when you've been in the business for a year or 2 and you have clients you've worked with. Just a quick follow-up, once a quarter at minimum, what can we do to help? Look at it as a service call.
Right. And what's the flip side of that coin? Hey, Earl called me every day until he got his check, and then I never heard from him again, right? So if you don't call, there's 2 negative stories you could tell yourself. Why not make sure your clients are helped, at least as far as real estate goes, if you're going to be their realtor, right?
Well, and you think about it, you're right, though. I mean, during that transaction, we're like, bound at the hip.
Right.
You're talking to them almost daily sometimes. You're going through some of the most stressful situations, they can ever go through. And when they say it's like, death, marriage, having a kid, buying a house.
Right.
So
stuff.
Then you don't talk to them, ever again.
Right. It's just like, yeah, like he was there when he needed his money, right?
That's what they think, because there's no other narrative in their mind except for if you put a plan together now that we try to call that first week, just checking in. I know sometimes you move in and things happen. What can we help you with?
Right.
I try to put it in that first month. Sometimes we're reaching out in between, but at least that first month, congrats, first month in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Third month, 6 months, and then maybe the year. I have a friend. Actually, you've met him, Ben Andrews, out in Oregon. He has a whole, first year process of touch points just to kind of stay in touch, and then you let them know, hey, we're not just here just for the check.
Right.
We want to build a relationship with you.
Yeah.
And then, of course, if you come across anyone that appreciates our level of service, we'd love you to refer them to us.
Yeah, and I loved you shared with me the script, duplicating your current client, and the whole concept is basically, look, I'm going to put my head down and go to work for you and not worry about prospecting as long as I can count on you, if I do a good job, to give me referrals, right?
Yeah.
So, kind of show it as a benefit to them.
I think when you start that right at the first meeting, you kind of set the basis for that, and then they see that you're following through with that, not only through the transaction. I do think after the transaction, there is that mindset of like, I wonder if he really is going to reach back out to us.
Right. So I'm getting ready to send an email to our company about basically, why don't you call everybody today and say, hey, did you need any of the paperwork for tax? Do you have all your paperwork to file your taxes, on your home? Call your clients for last year. But I think there's always a random, way to call and touch them.
That's the biggest concern people have is like, oh, I need a reason to call.
Right.
I mean, that was mine. That's why we do, I think, 6+ events a year.
Right. The same. Yeah.
Just to kind of give a reason to call. But I had a real estate coach. He's told me, he's like, do you have to have a reason to call like your brother or like a family member, like your mother? You just, hey, how's things going? I haven't talked to you in a little bit.
Right.
People want to know that, they're being thought of.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hey, I was just thinking about you. Figured I'd reach out. If you get their answer machine, no need to respond. Just hope you're doing well. And, if you need anything at all, we're here for you.
Yeah. And you don't have to bring up, can you refer me? Do you know anyone who wants to move?
No. I mean, that is part of the Buffini program, but I think you can, if you're calling and you're being genuine, not every call you have to say, hey,
Well, I think also, I've gotten to a point, and I've listened to you call, I think you're there as well, where you can get the answer to that question without asking it. Like,
yeah,
hey, how's work? Good. How's work for you, right? They ask you, and then boom, there you go.
Well, everybody wants to know about how's real estate.
Right.
It's everywhere right now,
That's all you hear, yeah.
I think the key is, and I mentioned this to our team, is we want our clients, our good database, that our people that we've worked with, we want them to start having, instead of real estate conversations, because everyone's having real estate conversations, we want to change that to realtor conversations.
Yeah.
So as like, you have a friend, they're at lunch having, drinks or whatever. Hey man, I saw the rates are going up. What's going on with that? And they're like, yeah, I don't know. I saw on the news, this, and this. You want your advocate to say, you know what? Why don't you reach out to Brian? Let me give you his info. That, that way he knows what's going on. So that's kind of the whole goal, is that, we're the experts.
Right.
We want them to share the experts with the people that they care about.
Right. Love it. So just, I have a feeling if I was listening to this, I'd be trying to tally up your system. So first week after closing, you're calling them. First month after closing, 6 months, and then at a year.
Yeah.
Now after that, you're calling what? Everybody once a quarter, or you're calling them at a different cadence based on if they're an A, B, or C?
It depends. Yeah. So, but no matter what, they're getting put into kind of our system of, they're going to be invited to the events.
So everyone gets invited to an event.
Yep.
As long as you're not a D.
We have some events that are, more catered towards our A's and A pluses, because they do refer us quite a bit. So we want to make sure we take care of them. But for the most part, everyone's going to get a pie. You know, they're going to get ice cream. You know, we have a casino night coming up. You know, those are fun events we want everyone to enjoy. So let's say after that first year, we're still reaching out to them on their home anniversaries, their birthdays. We're sending cards. We're, you know, if you're an A, about every other month, I'm reaching out to see how things are going. B's every quarter, just to kind of check through. We still do pop-bys, you know, even after I have people that I've been popping by with, you know, Valentine's Day candy for 10 years. and actually one of them, they haven't referred us, you know.
He's not lying. You're not lying. I know that for a fact. I thought you were lying the first time you told me that. And then I'm like,
I was going to bring you guys some Valentine's Day candy.
Yeah.
I know it's past.
That's so funny. And right. So, I mean, obviously we're not going to tally up the return on investment, but if you said you spend an hour a day doing that every day of the year, I mean, you're talking about making more than you can make in almost any other career.
I think if you did that 5 days a week, and you know what? If you did that 4 days a week.
So there's 168 hours in a week. If you spend 4 of them on this. And you called 5 people. Right.
5 people, you know what I mean? What's that? That's 20 people a week.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just kind of rotated through it. You know, I think that you'd exceed your sales goal by more than you'd expect. And you look at it 3 ways too. You know, one is when you're looking at activity, are you doing the activity? Are you making those calls?
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, you're not making the calls, then, you know, make those calls.
Right.
Now, let's just say you are making those calls. We have a lot of people, we have a few people on our team, they're making the calls, but they're not seeing results. Now, one, you have to give a little bit of time, but maybe it's the skill level. What are you saying? How are you communicating? You know, are you communicating with confidence? Are you asking? You know, are you letting them know that you work by referral? So let's just say you are doing that. The third one is who are you calling? Are you calling all of your CE people? You know, and you know basically they're not giving you anything,
right?
You know, or are you calling all of your D people? You know, really you want to go to where the water's warm.
Right.
You know, that's why the A's are the people that they're going to answer when you call.
Right.
You know, and it takes a little bit of skill to get away from that mindset of that you're just calling for a referral. And that's where I think most people get caught up is they feel like they have that hammer behind their back waiting to hit them with the referral dialogue.
Right.
But if you really honestly just call with service, if you don't feel comfortable asking, don't. You know, but normally they're going to ask you how's real estate, and then you can kind of let them know honestly what's going on in the market, and then you can pivot to have whatever's going on in that particular market. Like now, I would usually say markets, you know, it's still pretty busy. You know, things have slowed down a little bit because we don't have a lot of houses active, so we're still seeing some multiple offers. So actually, if you can do me a favor and you hear of anyone if you're at work or in your neighborhood that's looking to sell their house, keep us in mind. We really are looking for people that are looking to sell their house now because it's still such.
And it triggers different parts of their brain, right? When you say people at work, it makes them think about, that list of people. Oh, maybe, so.
And depending on where, if I know, like if they're a nurse, I'll mention like at the hospital. If they're teachers, I'll try to mention that, and also people, they'll ask us, do you have any new listings coming up? We've used that in some of our listing marketing as well. Like while we're doing our calls, I might drift my calls towards people that I might know that have friends or family that are looking in these certain areas.
Yeah.
Because we all know someone right now that's trying to find a house and can't find one.
Yeah.
So, trying to use that as part of our marketing for our listings, you're kind of doubling down on that whole concept.
Awesome. I love it. Well, I want to try to stick to my questions because I'm good at getting off topic, but we are hitting most of them. One other thing as we are on the referral topic, do you have any strategies to encourage referrals from other agents nationwide? I know you and I are both going to the Tom Ferry Elite Retreat this week. You got any secrets up your sleeve for that? Or, what, do you just go out there and buy them all drinks?
That is not a secret, but it's a great tactic.
Find Earl, guys. I'm sure you can convince him to buy you a drink.
So this past year, I actually kind of double down on going to events.
Right.
Because I saw that as a byproduct to going to some of these events, I started getting referrals. So every year I try to pick one aspect of my business and I try to double down on it. Like this year it's video, but last year was events. So I went to 13. I don't advise this if you're married.
I was going to say that.
Yeah, being away that much can be difficult. But I look back to when I was young. I wish I went to these events sooner. Because one, you learn so much from the actual content.
Right.
The Tom Ferry event, we're going to learn a ton of stuff there. But then you're going to meet people that are doing, way more transactions, or they're handling their business a little bit differently. So you learn from the actual people. Mm-hmm. And then if you look at what, we're all around the country, in real estate, you can get a name, number, and a phone number and give it to another agent, and they can legally give you a referral fee on that. So I try to meet as many people when I'm at these events. So sometimes I'll try to put together a small little happy hour. Maybe not, say, hey, I'm not going to cover everything, but hey, why don't we all meet up at this event or at this, restaurant and have a couple drinks? My friend Kelly Court, she's a nationwide lender. She's like amazing at putting that together. Then once you kind of meet a few people, build relationships, do it the same way I'm doing it with my clients is build a relationship with them. And then, stay in touch and maybe have a once a month call with them. Reach out to see how they're doing. If you see them on social media, comment back on to them about some of the how good it was. And then, stay in touch. It's the same concept, And
yeah, not to interrupt you. I think for me going to those events, aside from the referral side, I'll meet people who, you've introduced me to a lot of agents when we travel, and I'm like, they've broken the barriers that are local here. Like in your local market, there's a lot of people that aren't doing stuff at that level, Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And you see somebody and they're like, Julie's like, oh, I got 600 5-star Google reviews. And I'm like, okay, I need to do that. No one's doing that here. That's an easy way, to stand apart for free. So.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, you say that too, because when you do meet these people, they're all different agents, different locations, but we all have the same, goal in mind.
Right. We
want to serve our clients to the best of our ability. And what is the technology that you're using for that? What are some of the dialogues that you're using? Mm-hmm. Everyone's doing it a little bit differently. And if you take little pieces of that to add to your business, that can exponentially increase,
100%. One little tiny nugget, And when you listen to like professional athletes or something like that, like what they would do just to get 1% better, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just to kind of take that small little turn on their golf swing does so much when you're, at a higher level.
I remember a story I heard at one of these events, and I can't remember which cycling team it was, but their whole goal was 1% better in every aspect. They were basically like shipping their bicycles in these like airtight containers to make sure no dust got on them.
Wow.
They were, their meals were like tweaked by the smallest little bit so they can get more, pedal volume. And they ended up winning. I think it's France. I can't remember, but it was like 4 or 5 years in a row by just small little tweaks that they did in every aspect of their life. Like even in real estate, we are our business.
Right.
And that's the one thing people don't realize. So like I try to wake up every morning and have a routine to keep myself at that peak performance, I'll go on a Peloton, I'll, do some mindful stuff. I'll read, and that kind of gets me ready. I mean, I know you do as well.
Yeah, 100%. That's so funny. That was my next question. So you're the one that got me hooked on the morning routine. I think you gave me that book, The Miracle Morning. And while we're talking about that, I think it's probably one of the most important things a new agent could do is to get a good morning routine. What does your morning routine look like? Why do you think it's important for your success?
I explained it's basically you wake up, I get downstairs. That's my number one thing. Get out of bed, put my phone in my bathroom. So you just get up and get out.
So you start your morning routine the night before when you keeping your phone away from you, or you sleep with your phone?
No, my phone's in my bathroom.
Okay, so you're going to sleep without your phone.
Yep.
Phone alarm.
Phone alarm. You know, if you don't have a phone alarm, people say that's even better because now you're not associating with the phone. I try to stop my screen time 30 minutes before bed. You know, and nobody's perfect. You know, sometimes you're still checking stuff, but I'd like to read a little bit before bed, kind of get your mind right for sleep. So I called the bookends.
Okay.
You get your bookends right, and then wake up, go to the alarm. Yeah, man. Again, nobody's perfect. There are days where I have snoozed.
Right.
But for the most part, I'm getting downstairs. I do a little bit of mindfulness. I started doing that years ago. I had a real estate coach that was adamant about it. You know, I thought it was the stupidest thing ever. Like, you know what I mean? I'm just going to sit there and, yell and say, but, but, I started doing it, and I think that's probably been one of the defining moments or defining practices I do every morning. It's 10 minutes. And I found that, throughout the day when the world's falling apart, 10 transactions falling apart, you actually know, you can kind of calm down, like, okay, all right, what am I going to do here? What can we control? So that's been helpful. I like to read 10 pages of some type of instructional book.
Okay.
I do like to write down, my gratitude, what I'm grateful for. And then I try to write down the top 3 things that I need to accomplish that day. What's going to move the needle?
Love it.
That's a big one. What's going to move the needle today? And then I would have in my calendar, get your ass on Peloton.
Right.
Or whatever. I used to go, to CrossFit. Just get to CrossFit. Just getting there. For me, now I have it in the basement. I just force myself to get down there and I'm just going to do 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then 5 minutes turns to your 30 or whatever it is, just kind of starting. And then it's, then I do breakfast, check my emails, and kind of off to the races from there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah. I noticed the days I don't do my morning routine, it's just like sometimes I wish I didn't even go to work that day.
Oh no. Yeah. You can see the difference.
I'm like rude to my employees. I'm rude to, our client. I'm just short, and it's crazy how that works, but it really transitions into your business. Could you share a tool or system you've implemented that has significantly increased your productivity or efficiency? Can't be ChatGPT.
I was just going to say ChatGPT.
It could be ChatGPT. I mean, what is it? ChatGPT?
I mean, that's been one. Since we went to the Tom Ferry Summit, and really they broke that down in some, different aspects. I mean, that's been great as far as productivity goes.
It's insane. Yeah.
I mean, even just write an email, I'll have it filter through ChatGPT and it can reword things differently. I ask it for ideas. Even we do our planning day. I had it help with my agenda. I'll even ask it, like, if I was $100 million producing team, what would be the top 5 marketing tools I would be using? And it just helps. It helps me kind of, organize my thoughts and also gives you a lot of great ideas. If it wasn't that, I'm trying to think. I mean, there's probably a ton of different tools. I'm trying to think what are some other ones. BombBomb. BombBomb's a good one for video. We'll send BombBomb videos out.
What do you use? What do you use on the back end for your, do you guys have anything that tracks your systems for, let's say, when a deal goes under contract?
We use Asana.
Okay.
Yeah, we use Asana for transaction management.
Perfect. We use that.
Yeah.
So you use Asana for every step, like so-and-so to get deposit check. So-and-so, every step and every transaction has a template that you add. Okay.
Yeah. We even have projects in there for, our events. Basically we use that for most of our project management and
okay.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah. Do you have anything that tracks like a system when this is something we struggle with? A new lead will come in and a lot of times it gets lost. Do you something like that comes in, do you deal with it instantly? Do you leave it on red and then do it at the end of the night? Like, what do you?
And that's something that, we're tweaking as well.
Okay.
So when I get an email that comes in, a lot of times I have my assistants will monitor my emails if I'm not available. And they might just respond back, and then they kind of put it on the list for me to follow up with. Sometimes, if it comes in on my text, and we get a lot of text messages, I'll put it as I pin it up top on the phone.
Oh, you pin the whole message?
Yeah, I'm pinning the whole message. That way,
Cool.
I schedule time in my day to make sure I go through my phone at the end of the day.
Okay.
A couple times, it depends on how busy we are, but at the end of the day, no matter what, I'm reviewing all my text messages. I don't want anything to fall through the cracks. Now, the busier that we get, of course, we have to implement other systems, I think. But for right now, that's been working. Just having, lead comes through into our email. A lot of times they're either calling or texting me because they are a referral. I'm just making sure I'm getting back to them as soon as I can.
Okay.
At least responding like, hey, or my assistant might say, Earl's in an appointment. He'll get back to you, this afternoon.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
Like that.
Did I know that you guys run a great system. Was there ever a time where you had trouble delegating stuff, or you wanted to be like hands-on? And like I'm struggling with that right now with giving Kate a lot of my listing business. It's like, my little precious gems that I don't want to get rid of.
No, of course, like your jewel box.
Yeah. I mean,
so this is in the past few years, and of course, everything's always, we're always pivoting and figuring out new ways and how can we handle a lot of that. So especially in this market, and we've been getting a lot of buyer referrals. So with buyers, it's tough for me to always be meeting people. If I have 5 people that want to see a house on Tuesday at 3:00,
right. Right.
So what I found is what we've been doing is partnering with someone on our team. So when I have a new client come in, I usually will partner with an agent on my team with those buyers, so that they always have one of us. There's I'll go on a group text message
Okay.
with those with everyone. That way, when they say, hey, can we see this house, I might have Sharon or Michelle or someone on my team, Packer. They're going to be responding as well. If I'm in a meeting like this, they at least they're getting instantaneous feedback. Now that's also something when we do a buyer consultation. We're big on buyer consultations.
Okay.
Preparing everyone. 1, what are you looking for? 2, what's going on in the market? So we got to kind of give them, I think coaching people on the dynamics of the market is huge.
Right.
Because people just don't know. I've been at that question, asking them, what have you heard about the market? And you'll get a lot of insight from that.
Yeah.
They might say, oh, here it's still seller's market. Or I hear the rates are still high. Or
Yeah. Right.
if someone says, I don't know, I'm just looking to buy a house. So then you can kind of get a gauge, and then usually I'll explain to them how we work. If I have someone on my team that might be on that call or at the meeting in person, or I'll let them know that, I'm going to have someone on my team help with us with showing, so that if you see a house and I'm in a meeting or maybe, we're away or something like that, there's always someone that's going to be helping you.
Yeah.
That's how I've been able to kind of scale it a little bit.
Yeah, that's perfect. I think the key word there is saying partner too. Like when you say anything else, really, I think if you say my partner can meet you there, my partner can help you, it's so much better, I think, to the client.
Yeah, my friend Lisa Wright, she's in like the like Allentown, area.
Earl's collecting referral fees on this guy, so just so you know. No, just kidding.
Just giving shout outs if anyone knows anybody in any different areas, we can hook you up. But she calls them team partners.
Yeah.
They're a team partner.
Right. I think when I switched it, I used to say like, hey, I'll have somebody meet you there and let you in.
Yeah.
And if you say my partner's going to be there, it sounds so much better.
Yeah. No, and I think it helps out too with your team. I mean, one is, if someone's new and they're still growing their business, you can get some great experience, helping you show houses. I like to bring people with me on some of the showings for the first time, at least new agents, to show them how we communicate. And then it builds up their confidence when they're trying to build their book. And then also, if if you're not at full capacity, you can, I mean, you're helping out with us. Obviously we give a percentage for that. So
yeah, of course. I mean, the main goal in this market, like you said, you can't help two people at once. And if you're not there in the next 2 hours, you might lose the deal.
exactly. I mean, it's all about the service. Cause obviously if you don't do a great job with service, they're not going to refer you.
Right.
So, and people think it has to be you at all times, but most clients, they care about the service that you give, the value that you give. And if your agents that are working with you on your team are giving the same value, now it's us, not just me.
Right. Yeah. It's like, I always, when I'm trying to help train an agent here, I'm like, think about when you call anybody that's in that role as a professional, your doctor, your accountant, your attorney, you don't talk to your attorney every time you call them and you don't really care, right? You just want to, like, what's the answer to my question is what you need. And you need to be able to count on it, which I think, if you delegate it properly and, you always taught me this, take ownership, right? So if you have them trained enough to be able to be just like you, then.
Well, and that actually is a good point too. So you want them also, and this is a tough one for people to swallow, is you want them to feel comfortable if they do make a mistake, and you have to own that mistake.
Right. If they make a mistake, it's almost your fault, right?
Yeah, I'd say you always you own it. And that's going to come with the territory when you do start delegating a little bit.
Yeah.
You just have to be okay with it. You look at it as a learning experience. We have a sign in Nancy and Chris's office, our admin. It says, you never lose. You either win or you learn.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Sometime in our business, learning is very expensive. It's like I said, this is the only business where you're actually learning in real time when there's an actual $10,000 or $15,000 commission check on the line.
Right.
So I think practice, and I think you guys here do such a great job with that.
Yeah.
With like dialogue practice,
100%.
How many times have you done a listing appointment presentation where you're not in front of, the actual seller? You're going in there real time, like, all right, let's go.
Yeah. It's crazy. And, hopefully you make a mistake, it only costs you money. Worst case, it costs your client money, or we all end up in court.
Oh yeah, we don't want that.
Yeah. Knock on wood.
But that's and also just back to like that kind of the team partners. I found when someone's relatively new and they're helping out, and you can say, okay, why don't you prepare that offer? And preparing an offer the first time or first couple times can be overwhelming. They're scared they're going to miss something. When you say, look, you prepare it, you send it to me, and I'm going to review it.
Yeah.
You can't mess up because I'm seeing it before you send it.
Right.
So I think that kind of builds that confidence with your team members.
Yeah.
Especially if they're relatively new, and they want to have that confidence. Now, when they go out and they're doing their own, they feel pretty confident,
Yeah. And and I think it's easier. It was easier for me once I knew that agent was. A lot of times, one of my clients might get a better level of service working directly with an agent because, sometimes it's easy for us to get spread thin.
Exactly. Yeah.
And, so it's a lot easier to let go when you know that your people are, better than you.
Well, and sometimes, where our biggest value is maybe the advice we're giving on whether and how to present the offers. Even in this market, I'm still partnering with my agents, and even on some of their stuff, I might be reaching out. You might know the other co-broke. That makes a big difference.
Yeah.
You might be able to kind of give a little bit different advice on the actual writing of the offer.
Yeah.
Educating a little bit more.
Yeah. And a new agent just going out trying to build it all and accomplish the world versus joining your team, they're already, starting out going 50 miles an hour down the road. So
yeah, and I'm a big advocate of that. You either one, get a mentor. Two, you want to join a company that really focuses on training. In my opinion,
yeah,
I think that's big. And three, it could be a team. A team aspect. Everyone asks why join a team. I know I wouldn't have necessarily survived if I didn't have my mother helping me out. Whether it's her or another agent. I mean, I was very fortunate to have her, you know, in her years of experience as far as working the transactions to kind of.
She's the best. Yeah. She's taught me so many things. And then you also mentioned the company investing in that Buffini program for you. You know, if you don't have somebody fighting in your corner and you're just somewhere, you know what I mean? It'll completely change your trajectory as an agent.
I think so. I mean, I'm a big advocate of coaching. I know you're coached. You know, I'm you know, I got 2 different coaching companies I work with. So do you.
Yeah.
I'm
gotta have it.
You have 2, but I'm just saying, you know, whether it's Buffini and Company, Tom Ferry, you know, there's a lot of other ones. Those are the 2 big ones right there.
Yeah.
I think that
I have a great coach right here too, as well, Rob Gisbert.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, that's, you know, I think that makes all the difference.
Yeah.
You know?
100%.
All the biggest athletes in the world have coaches for every aspect of their life.
Yeah. And if you can join a team, a new agent doesn't need a coach. They could join a team and instantly get leads, the training, support. You got someone else's name on, you know, backing you up and, you know, everything. I think it's if I got in the business again tomorrow, I would be on a team.
Yeah, I think it's a great way to kind of, you know, at least kind of learn the ropes, so you're not just getting thrown into the ocean and learning how to swim, which is also another way to do it.
Yes,
but this can be a thankless profession.
Yeah,
if you're, you know,
and it's long. It's like it's not like, oh, I went to work today and it sucked. Like you could work for 6 months and it sucks, and then boom, you hit that jackpot. You know,
it's compounded.
Yeah, and I see it. We have agents, and without a doubt, the hardest part is keeping their motivation going, because I know I'm like, they have it, you know?
Yeah.
And it's,
I faced that too. I think we all do.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I do too.
I mean, that's why I like to go to these events. You know, I think it kind of refocuses us, and kind of, it's almost like a refresher.
Yeah.
You know, going to these events, talking to the people, you know, I think a lot of times we'll go to the events and everyone's in that same boat. They're either getting work tirelessly, or, you know, they don't have a lot of business, and it kind of gives you that motivation. But
yeah,
I mean, the one thing about motivation is it's like bathing, man. I think Zig Ziglar said that you got to do it daily.
Right. 100%. And once you lose it, it doesn't come back. It's just like the gym.
Yeah.
All right, real quick on the systems and stuff. What do you do when you have someone that keeps reaching out to you? I'm asking you for my own advice. You know, do you find that it's hard to when you're working with someone, the deal goes under contract, and you know, like for you, like Nancy's probably got a better grip on it in the back end sort of things. You know, she's there all day. She's got her numbers. She's working her system. Do you have a good script that people could use that helps, you know, get you and the client and her on the same page? Do you guys do a 3-way call? Like, how do you handle that?
So I think you gotta let them know up front how
before you even start looking at houses,
how your systems work.
Okay.
And then that, you know, obviously that could still change. You know, they still might be reaching out to you for certain aspects.
Okay.
But I know, like, so when we go under contract, Krista on our team, she's our transaction manager. So she'll actually send an email. She'll call and reach out like, hey, between these hours, this is where I'm available. That's how, you know, we are. And then, you know, if something's emergency, you know, you can definitely, you know, reach out to, I mean, I'll be available. I'm always still available, but for the most part, you know, during these certain aspects, she knows what's going on more than I do.
Okay.
Now I do let them know every Friday, I'm going to call you between this time and this time, or is there a time that works better for you? And we can, if it can wait, we can discuss all of that then. So like throughout the week, Krista's, you know, reaching out to people, she's doing her thing. And then usually I'll give a call, through our transactions, be like, okay, yeah, I know you scheduled everything with Krista. You did this, and this, you know, everything's moving along as it should. Right. Kind of reassuring them. And then sometimes there's some questions that they had that comes up then. Especially with listings, you know, things
inspections.
Like
so you have a couple touch points, but you set the expectation right in the beginning. Here's our process. I think that's important.
Yeah. And then have, you know, let's just say you go under contract, then, you know, you basically have everyone reach out at those times. And it's funny, I kind of learned that with I know it's kind of a bad word around here, Rocket Mortgage. But I see when they would transfer to a new person, that person would email, call, text, they're now handling it. We're the point of contact. And
you have to have that team. I mean, or else one agent can't do it, right?
Yeah.
And
they can, but then I think things that fall through the cracks.
Right.
Having those systems in place, I mean, basically ensures that transaction, nothing's going to be missed.
Yeah.
Especially when there's, deadlines, Now it's not, inspections are starting to creep their way back. They may fall back again, but you don't want to miss an inspection deadline.
Right. No. Not at all. We just had one. I got an email last night. We forgot to disclose the CD. I haven't had that mistake happen to me in 4 years because we have I don't know exactly what happened, but something happened where we kept asking so many times that maybe we stopped. I don't know. I have to talk with Sharon about that.
That's a big one. Like you want that email maybe to go out that day before and then maybe a call. It's tough to, if you have the systems in place, sometimes they still don't work.
Yeah.
Ours is inform them, remind them again.
Right.
And I've had it where we do that with agents and sometimes they get upset with us. Like, we know, we got it. Okay. That's just helping us too.
Right. I'd rather be annoying than us miss settlement.
And sometimes it's just soft touches too, with sellers. Hey, the inspections are Saturday at noon. And then, Friday, just want a quick reminder, inspections are going to be at Saturday around noon. Just want to let you know. And then it's Friday or Saturday morning. We just said, I'm not trying to be a pain, but just want to let you know. And so we've had that happen before where someone's like, oh my gosh, I forgot to let you know that we can't do Saturday at noon. And it's like right at that third reminder.
Right. And you're like,
so,
Yeah,
but realistically, that could have been some type of blow up if we didn't remind them that many times. So I don't know. I think it's important to kind of have those systems, and everyone has different lives. Some people were more assertive than others.
Right.
And other people, like for me, I like the 3 reminders. Yeah, I need 3 reminders for everything.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah, 100%. We have 10 more minutes. Let's try to get as much as we can on without you bragging about your systems anymore.
All right. Hey, all of my systems, I basically swiped from somebody else. So everything is it's just like a smorgasbord of other people's systems from around the country. And it used the word swipe, which is steal with integrity, almost everything. Is that what it is? Oh, like that. Pretty much everything. SWIPE. Yep.
Pretty much everything. That's awesome. I've stolen almost all of your systems. When I go under contract on a deal, we're doing a deal with you right now.
Yeah.
Our transaction coordinator knows, whatever you see them doing, we need to figure out if we need to do it. How can we implement that? I want to know the whole deal.
Well, I do the same thing with you because you guys have such great email stuff. That's what I was talking to you the other day about. What do you use? Yeah. And you're like, oh, it's just MailChimp. I'm like, oh, we have MailChimp.
Yeah. But we, if there's no chance that could hurt each other. It's just going to help the business,
I'm big on that. And I think it was actually when you were there, because I think I was telling you everything. Yeah. And Nancy, she's like, why do you tell, Brian? I think she used you as an example, but she's like, why do you tell Brian everything we're doing? Yeah. I think, well, one, most people that we tell this stuff to will never do it. And that's the truth. We know that. Yeah. I don't do a lot of this stuff sometimes, call 5 people in your database and you can make $100,000 this year. Are you going to do it? Some people, it sounds that simple.
Right. It is that simple. They're not going to do it.
But yeah, so that's one. And 2, you're in the office, I think we had a lot of great teams, and a lot of great camaraderie in our office. And I said, look, if they actually start doing it, which you actually did, and get better, that means we have to get better. Yeah. Because I want to still stay number 1. So
that's awesome.
So it's kind of it has that little bit of a push. I just posted something on Facebook today about, if you're working next to a top producer or someone that is very effective, you actually will produce 30% more output. Mm-hmm. No. I'm sorry, 15% more output. But if you're working somebody who is not a, let's call it a high-level producer in any industry, you're going to do 30% less production.
Wow.
So keeping our environment a grind and everyone else doing well makes us do better.
Yeah, 100%. This is a kind of an analogy, but like we used to ride the Peloton every morning. If I was there racing you, I think we would both have, 50%, whatever it is. Like I'm going all in.
I'm nowhere near any of that output right now. Right. Like some of those outputs, I'm like, how did I do?
I know
150. Like, you know what I mean? Like this is crazy. Like now I'm huffing and puffing when after 20 minutes. Like we should probably get back to doing that.
And what I noticed, back to like helping people is when you teach something to somebody else, like you might have showed me like, hey, Brian, you should be emailing all of your clients, right? And how do we know that didn't turn into my MailChimp thing that now I'm showing you? Earl, look what you could be doing with MailChimp, right?
Yeah.
So you help somebody else, you're going to get it back. What was that thing you told me the other day? You give someone a slice and you get a loaf of bread.
Oh, yeah. And again, all those sayings, I didn't make up any of these. The amount of slices, it comes back in loaves. That's a Brian Buffini thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, he said, I'm sure he got that from somebody else. Who got that from somebody else. Who got that from somebody else.
I'm doing, I gave this guy my playbook. I go, look, go on this thing, My Plus Leads. You'll find all the pre-foreclosure leads. Well, then, sure enough, he's calling me. Hey, I need you to help me run numbers on this deal. It's a good flip deal. I could, make 50, 60 grand if it goes through. He's giving it to me first. So it's like, boom, you give away your secret, there it comes. And that's every single thing I could show that to.
I mean, people walk around and they're, especially when I got into the business, it was, I think, in an era where a lot of the agents were really holding everything to the chest, Oh man, we don't want this guy to get our business,
Right.
We don't want to tell him what we're doing. And a lot of agents are still like that. But I just think that that's a scarcity mindset. If you have abundance, let's just say we do go on a compete against on a listing. Well, I gotta step it up. You know?
100%.
I mean, you have your own database of people. I mean, very rarely do we cross, on that aspect. Except for you did sell a house next to one of my clients.
Yeah. And like, this goes back to, I remember being early on in the business and they were like, they had interviewed me and you and another agent. No, they interviewed you and another agent.
Okay.
And I like found out about it. Like, I don't know what happened, but I ended up getting a listing appointment with them.
Oh, that's the one in Landenberg, I think.
Yeah. And they were basically like, look, dude, we're not working with you. Like they just told me that. I was a new agent. And I was like, all right, well, here's the deal. This is what Earl's got to offer. This is, and I pretty much the only reason you got that listing, but
yeah.
No, but
really
you helping us
during that listing competition.
Yeah, right.
But that
it pays back.
Right there, though, that one, you're not afraid to just do it.
Right.
And that's the one thing with this business is it rewards action. And you've slowly grown. Now I'm literally looking at all of your systems and what you've built here, and I'm like, wow, this is impressive. And we're learning from you. I mean, I'm probably learning from you more so than not. And so, like when we went to that Tom Ferry event, I was introducing you to a lot of my friends, and like you just throw this bomb out there. And I remember, Julie Woods, she's Texas, by the way, throwing the call outs there.
Yeah,
she's like, oh my God, Brian.
They're like, wait, what is this? How do I do it? Blah, 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 blah. But I think it's like, that's the biggest thing. It's like that. First of all, you have to share. Second of all, like you have to be willing to have someone else show you something that's better than what you're currently doing and have that learning mindset. Like you wouldn't shut it out. You will let me finish my whole thought and be like, here's what I see. And then after that, you need to take action, right? Like you do all three of those. No one's hiding the secrets. The realtors are the best at it. Everything is in plain sight, Look up the top agents and it's right there. Like, you want to know how to do Instagram? Well, Real Trends posts the top 100 realtors in your state. Look at what they're doing on Instagram. It's not hidden, and then go do it, right?
That's the big one too, is social media. I've just watching what people are doing.
It's insane.
And then kind of, like I said, swipe it, or what do they call them, Tom Ferry world? That's
R&D.
R&D.
Yeah.
Rip off and duplicate.
Yeah. But all right, we already got off track again.
Sorry,
I don't even know what we're talking about. So One of the biggest things, Earl, how do you recommend that people handle rejection and failure? What advice do you have for new agents facing challenges when you were a new agent? If you could go back and tell yourself, day one in 2007.
I think it's a muscle. No matter what, you're going to get hit. If you're feeling you get punched in the stomach. But that goes back to what I talked about before with what did you learn from that experience? And that's the toughest thing to really try to adjust your mindset on is what could have you done better? Or what could have you done to avoid that situation or get that situation? Like, so with a listing, we've all lost listings. I mean, you lose more in the beginning than you do, once you start, if you get a little more practice. But asking that client when they go with another agent, now I say, what could I have done better to earn your business? Sometimes, you
don't want to hear it, but
some people just ghost you and never tell you.
Right.
The ones that do give you honest advice, that's gold, man. Gold. I'll say to increase my professional effectiveness, could you let me know what I could have done better? I mean, I had a one where the agent, she staged the whole house. That was an issue for them. So now I know I always like to ask questions and, is there something the other agent's doing that we're not doing? Now, I may not have staged that whole house. They had a whole, staging like the warehouse, but at least I can ask those questions. I might be able to pivot another way.
Could I list your house for 5% more than her and we pay for the staging out of settlement? Like whatever.
However.
At least you address it.
But you're learning from that failure. I think the number one thing is you allow yourself to beat yourself. You can beat yourself up for a certain amount of time, but, go back and evaluate it. I mean, at the end of the year, I go through all of our transactions. I try to take notes on them per transaction. And we'll go through, okay, what could have we done better during this transaction? Like a situation comes up that you could have handled, way early in the transaction. I mean, I have one where, I could have set a couple different, I could have set a couple different expectations. And then, a month or two later, now it's blown up because I didn't set that expectation.
Right.
So learning that type of stuff and not letting it get to you, but you're dealing with emotions. So
yeah.
That's why I say it's a muscle.
Right.
So go out and fail a bunch of times.
Right.
And learn from that. Really, I know what do they say? The successful people have failed more times than regular people try, or something like that.
Yeah.
So failure is part of it. Fail fast, fail forward. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just if you're not failing, you're not trying.
Right.
Really.
100%. And it's not always a failure if you learn from it, right? And you take that with you.
You either win or you learn, man.
Yeah.
That's a big one that we really go over. What do we do? What can we do better?
Right.
How can we make it better? I know my team hates it when I say that. So like you have all of our systems dialed in. Awesome, man. How can we make it better? I want to go fast.
They're like, wait, we did everything right this time. Now we have to.
Well, you got to affirm that. Hey, we did an awesome job. Everything was perfect. How can we make it better?
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. So Earl, what do you have a habit or like a discipline that is something you think contributes to your success, something you do every day?
My morning routine is big. I do like to, like I said, I like to get a short workout in. I feel like it kind of rejuvenates my mind, kind of gets the blood flowing. I mean, I know that's kind of redundant. We were just talking about that, but I mean, I think that's huge.
Yeah.
And I think networking with other like-minded professionals.
Yeah.
That morning I think is sacred, and that not only just with that, but also with your business. Every morning I actually learned this from the Tom Ferry people. This little system like 5542. Call 5 people in your database, past clients or whatever. Now I'm calling 5 business owners. I might change that 5 to something that I'm trying to focus on at the moment, but that's because we were doing a casino night. So I want business owners to help sponsor. So calling them. 4 follow-ups. That's a big one. Follow up. I was listening to Ryan Serhant. He was talking about that they have the most extensive follow up program out there.
Wow.
Just follow up.
I heard that on one of his Instagram videos or something. He was saying that's crazy.
If someone's looking to sell and it's a year later, it's easier if you're following up with them every couple of weeks, every month, than if you like call them back a year later, like, hey, I'm not sure if you're still looking to sell. But still, I mean, that's starting it. So following up is the 4, and then 2 is I call 2 agents within a network. Like I might call like my buddy George Raptis from Fort Wayne. Shout out.
Earl's making so much money on this podcast.
No, I think it's good to know that you have a nice network of people. You have a
for
huge
sure.
network as well.
Yeah,
letting your clients know you have a network of agents that you can refer them to.
And that's
going to treat them well instead of just going online and getting some random agent.
Right. That they're going to be taken care of if they're, if they work with someone like that.
Yep.
And it's easy, especially if it's someone, someone you know.
Yep.
All right, Earl, that's good. So I don't know if this question is going to be redundant. Someone doing 3 to 20 transactions a year that want to reach your level, what do you think would be the next step for them?
So one, what are their activities? How are they getting their leads? That's the one I'd check. Because I'm going to say what everyone hates the fact I'm going to say this is call your database.
Yeah.
Pop by with little gifts. Send them a little handwritten note.
Everyone listening to this podcast, Earl's waiting for you to be like, go to this website, put your credit card in. You'll get 3 listings a day.
Yeah.
And
you know what? When someone texts you, they can give you 5 to 10 listings a day. You know what? Talk to them. Yeah.
Yeah. Just wait. Someone will call you. Yeah.
No, I mean, I honestly, I think that is so basic. That's your foundation. And then you can move up from there. Now, if you're doing, 3, or you'd say 20 to 30,
so someone
3 to 20.
who's newer, they're doing around 1 transaction every 30 days. So,
I honestly think that, getting
doubling down,
getting some type of accountability on whatever's working. Now, I like to say that, the calls, notes, pop-bys, that's just our foundation.
Mm-hmm.
But are you calling expires? Being consistent with those activities. It's a contact sport.
Mm-hmm.
What is it that's working, and double down on it. Last year, that's why I noticed I had 20% of our business, 21% was coming from agent to agent referrals. So I doubled down on that.
Right.
See what would come of it. And I think last year we ended up getting 33 different referrals from agents around the country.
It's insane.
So doubling down on one thing, and I would challenge anybody that's doing between 2 and 20 transactions to reach out to their database. Just be consistent with something every day.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. If you're doing video, do something every day. I think that's key in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
What else can you do? Plus calls are free.
Video's free.
Video's free.
Calling for expireds are free. And keeping that. Looking forward, where do you see the biggest opportunities in real estate for new and growing agents?
I think the opportunity is the actual, really the market share.
Right.
I honestly believe that we're going to see more and more agents kind of falling out of the business that did come in 2020, 2021, in those kind of, let's call them, peak years, that realize it is a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
So if you can push through some of these markets, and it's tough in a different way. When I came in, we had 4 times the amount of inventory. People were foreclosing. We were dealing with short sales. We used to do them ourselves. Now we got, awesome companies that can do them for us. But
right.
But the least amount less transactions because people weren't getting the mortgages.
Right.
We're now there's less transactions all around. We're gonna probably see more this year because there's not enough inventory. So if you can, be the advocate to your clients and stick with it, I think personally in that 2025 to probably the end of, just what's a, 2030, whatever it is, through the end of the 2020s, it's going to be, almost like a bull market if you can do it the right way. I do think we're still going to have low inventory. It's going to be a professionals market.
Yeah.
We're going to have to be sharp on our game. And if you're a growth minded individual, I think that, there's, sky's the limit for you.
Yeah.
Really. Especially as a new agent,
All the biggest agents in our market right now were made during, I think, that downturn you were talking about right there, the 2008, 9, like the big agents that they just gobble up a whole bunch of market share. And then,
which is similar now, just because,
right.
It's very buyer heavy.
Yeah.
And, when there's not enough houses, it doesn't matter how many buyers there are.
Yeah.
So figuring out new ways to find listings. We've been canvassing certain neighborhoods. We go out of our way to try to find the listings for our clients. But on that aspect, I remember, and you mentioned this in one of your podcasts too, because I know you've talked to him before, but McCann, he's a conglomerate, man. Like, and I remember sitting with him at one of our conferences when he was with Berkshire, and he said, yeah, I just doubled down on all of our marketing. I went, heavy on, I know he was buying, did a lot of lead purchasing. He's like, I just doubled down on that as well.
Yeah.
Because that is market share. Because now you're in front of your whole team's dominating that certain aspect of, Zillow or Realtor.com or whatever it is, you're in front of the masses more. So he just doubled down on his marketing. I remember always thinking that.
Yeah.
Even when 2020, the pandemic hit, I started dumping money I probably shouldn't have into marketing. I'll be honest, not a lot of it worked. What worked? Calling my database.
Yeah.
With little gifts. At that time, it was toilet paper. We stopped by with toilet paper.
And Clorox wipes. Yeah.
So
that's awesome. It
goes to show you that foundational stuff works.
Yeah. 100%. Well, I think that about wraps it up. If anybody listening wants to reach out to Earl, what should they do to get a hold of you?
You could call or text me, 610-496-3838, or Instagram. Just look up Earl Endrich. I think it's Earl Endrich _realtor. Facebook, Earl Endrich or Team Endrich. So you're not too hard to find. So
yeah, second best agent in Delaware here.
We're fighting for number one.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I appreciate it, guys. Again, if you can follow our podcast, we're going to do the best we can to just keep getting awesome guests on here. I think we got a ton of information today. So, that about wraps it up.